Remember, that was really fun. Great fair. I remember bathroom one was, they used to have that legit, and I remember they were going in.
Oh, yeah.
And
We're on.
We are on.
the biggest one I missed was Alexis.
Apologies for the delay. Thank you for your patience, your Zen-like patience. So everybody's here. Let me see where I am. I would entertain a motion to approve the January 15th commission meeting minutes.
Chair, thank you, Commissioner. Chair, I move to approve the January 15, 2026 commission meeting minutes as written.
Second.
Moved and second. Any discussion? Take the roll, please.
Commissioner Chowie,
Yes.
Commissioner Glenn,
Yes.
Commissioner Hayes,
Yes.
Commissioner Huffman,
Yes.
Commissioner Miletus,
Yes.
Commissioner Minty,
Yes.
Chair Doherty.
Yes. Next up, we're going to hear from Shannon Hoppitz and Scott Fox about our new online licensing system known as the Cannabis Alcohol Management Program. It's called CAMP. Completing CAMP, please sit down and I'll finish my remarks. Completing CAMP, this is a major accomplishment. And it's taken major time and effort and talent and hard work to bring us up into the 21st century, I guess. So I want to celebrate this. With this all digital system, we've left the world of paper behind. Now the 19,000 businesses and 214,000 workers in both the cannabis and alcohol industries, they can apply, renew, or update a license or a permit in real time and with just a few clicks. This effort is all part of OLCC's efforts to streamline and modernize its business practices and support Oregonian businesses that create jobs statewide. Also want to highlight that this was an agency-wide effort. I'm grateful to all of the dedicated employees from across the agency working very long and very hard to bring this new system to the finish line. Shannon, do you want to take it from here?
Yes, thank you, Chair Doherty.
Thank you.
Chair Doherty, Commissioners, for the record, my name is Shannon Hoffitz. I am the Director of Marijuana Compliance. I'm here with my colleague, Scott Yachts, who is the Alcohol Medford Regional Manager. We had the privilege of working on the final phase of the CAMP project within public safety. And today we are going to discuss the program and what it does for the agency. But as Chair Doherty said, there were a lot of staff and folks involved with this project, and that it wouldn't have been made possible without the participation from those staff from the following divisions: the Information Technology Division, Alcohol and Marijuana Licensing, Service Permits, Worker Permits, Alcohol Server Education, Public Records, Financial Services, our Communications Division, Administrative Hearings, and then within our Compliance Division, we have the Marijuana Analytics Team, the Bottle Bill Program, the Marijuana Call Center, the Lab Program, the Hemp Program, and Packaging and Labeling. So
Do you want to move on to the next thing and then we can work on this on
If you don't mind
then?
reading, and we'll maybe on to the next. I'd like to introduce Lisa Bertram and give us an update on the RTD privatization. Lisa, if you're stepping the breach here. Good morning.
So just a couple of updates. The one on RTDs, the commission had asked OLCC staff to come back at some point and talk about RTDs, kind of where they are at now, what's going on. So there was a bill, House Bill 4146 that was introduced that talks about the privatization of RTDs. There were some different things that were in that bill. Essentially, it took RTDs and put them into larger grocery stores. The bill itself was in the Revenue Committee, didn't receive a hearing, and so we don't think it's actually going to go anywhere this session. And so just kind of an update on what that was. When it was introduced, though, it was reviewed by OLCC, so we looked at the language, kind of talked through what it did. There was a broad coalition of opposition to the bill from kind of a bunch of different sources, stakeholders, different areas of the business. The bill sponsor did say that he'll continue to work on the bill, so we do think it'll probably come back at some point. We don't know if it'll change, amend, all those things. So the sponsor is still looking for funding for certain things, and then also to support Oregon RTDs, essentially the producers and manufacturers that make those today. So while we don't expect to go anywhere now, we're going to remain dedicated to following what happens with RTDs and then protecting our Oregon's way of doing business to keep these in our control under private and not, let them go to privatization. So should this come back again, we will be back to talk about RTDs. But in the meantime, that's kind of where it is right now. Any questions from?
Probably come back in the long session then. Something like that.
Right, yeah.
Okay, we'll deal with that when it comes. Commissioners, any?
I have a question.
Sure.
I think the underlying concern relative to RTDs and current is that relative to other states, we sell much less in Oregon than your average sale in other states, right? That's part of the claim.
Yeah.
Right. And so in my understanding is the reason that we would have lower sales is because the margins that the stores can get on them are aligned to liquor as opposed to kind of a special rate that would allow them, for instance, to be more appropriately priced, or where the stores are appropriately incentivized to sell them like they would wine or beer, right? Because right now the stores are making 35% on wine and beer, but they're only making 9% on RTDs.
Yep.
And so when I go to stores, I have to go to the back section of a store and find them non-refrigerated, under counters, because there's no incentive to sell them for the stores. So can't we address kind of the underlying economic issues here and avoid kind of this whole idea of privatization just by saying, let's adopt a rule that would align RTD specifically with liquor and wine in terms of margins? Are we able to do that?
Maybe someone can look at the task force, the pricing group. So a lot of stuff, it's hard to say what we can do until we kind of look into legalities of it, but yeah, maybe that's an item we can add to the.
Now, we are discussing it and trying to figure out if we can do anything and what we can do. Because if they're going to put it out, take up shelf space, they need to earn their place on that shelf. Yeah.
Yeah, and we do have I would say a diversity of stores now that how they treat RTDs. So to that point, right, some are larger than others, have more cooler space, some are smaller, have less shelf space. So I think it's important for us to continue this conversation and what can we do? What are the things that we can help out for our liquor stores to get these in places where they can sell? We do know it's one of the fastest growing sectors of this marketplace. So to help in any way we can, I think would be a good idea.
Thank you, Commissioner. Anything else? Anything else for you?
So I do have a couple more to talk through. They're both PowerPoints, but I can kind of talk through the next one. So chance to purchase is what I was going to talk about next. So we have a policy in place for our chance to purchase. Chance to purchase is really how Oregonians can get some of the highly allocated bottles that come through the OLCC. So every February we do a summary of the chance to purchase for the last year. And so this program, the chance to purchase program, started in 2018. And it, like I said, it's a way for us to get some of the bottles into a different distribution chain. So right now, we send all of our allocated items to liquor stores. Those liquor stores can then sell it to the public, or they can sell it to a licensee or a restaurant. The chance to purchase then takes a portion of those and sets them aside so that we can have drawings for Oregonians to win those bottles. So they don't have to go compete at the store to get those. So started in 2018, we've developed it over the years. The allocations are really based on what we get from the suppliers. So those are kind of state by state. They'll give us a certain percentage or number of what they're putting out in the world. We take about 10 to 20% of those allocations and put them in a chance to purchase. So it depends on how much we're getting of something, what it is, kind of, time of year. And then we hold those events quarterly with a different amount of products, different selection of products, different number of bottles in each of those drawings. So each drawing is really unique as far as what we're offering to the public. So we do have a policy that came out in 2023 to help kind of bring some guardrails to this program. And it basically directs us to do certain things. So we have to hold 4 events a year. So every quarter, we have to select limited items for each event. So, enough items that people want to enter and that, they actually want to get. We have to notify the public about the event. We have to use an external state agency to monitor the drawings. So when we actually have the event and we're drawing the winners, we have a panel of people that come in that includes an external state agency that works with our auditor to come in and ensure the event is done appropriately. And then we need to ship the items to the liquor store chosen by the winner. So as winners enter these events, they can say, I want you to send, if I win, send it to my local liquor store. This is where I want you to send it. So we know exactly when we pull the winners, where those bottles are going. We can send those bottles to those stores. And then the other thing is that we were supposed to talk about at the February commission meeting once a year. So that's what this is. The 2025, the kind of the raw data on what occurred last year. So each of the 4 quarters kind of on the left, the number of items available. These are individual items that are available during each event. So like for the first quarter, we had 12 items available. Each person that enters is allowed to enter up to 5 times or 5 items. So I can say, I want to pick out of these 12, I'm picking these 5 to enter. Maybe I only want to enter 2, kind of up to the entry. So you can see the number of items we had for each of these drawings, the total number of bottles available then for each of those, that again, just depending on how much we got, and then the number of overall eligible entries for each of those quarters. So with 64,000 entries and 2,494 bottles available, that's about a 4% winners. So about 4% of people that entered won a bottle.
They still pay for it, don't they?
Was that?
They still pay for it. They
Right,
don't
still
win the
have to
bottle.
purchase it from the retailer, right? Yep, so we distribute to the retailer, they go and purchase it and pick it up. So this is the comparison of items offered. So you can see last year's in the blue, this year's in the orange. So we did have more items offered in the first, 2 quarters, and then also the 4th quarter. That didn't necessarily translate to number of bottles. So I think I want to go to the next slide, which is talks about the number of bottles. So even though we had kind of less items available for each one, we had more bottles available for each one. So getting more product out with a smaller selection of items. We do look at a couple different things when we're looking at allocations, price of the bottle. So if it gets to be too high of a price, it's not going to sell well. So we particularly don't put those in chance to purchase. If they're really high price, those will typically go to a specific store, like to a licensee if they want a specific kind of bottle. But this really shows like we were able to offer way more bottles for every entry than we did the prior year. So you can see last year, 2024, we only had 1,100 bottles, almost got 2,500 then in 2025. And then the number of eligible entries. So you can see again, just kind of a leveling off the 2, 3, and 4th quarter. First quarter of 2024, just had more entries, particularly probably the Buffalo Trace or the Pappy collection was probably in that entry. So a lot of people entered that one in particular. So we'll have one of those coming up actually this quarter for this year. The Pappy collection's coming up. So you can see again, we just had, people enter the 2024 with 82,000 people entering. Their entry winners were about 1.3%. So we actually, increasing the number of bottles increases the number of winners. Hopefully increases people's excitement over this program and they continue to try to get these bottles. The other big thing that we do is from the communication side. So, communicating this out to not just to our retailers, but then to the public, right, through our retailers. So you can see we have this chance to purchase flyer that's produced by the communications team. They really, part of the policy instructs them to communicate, right? So educating the public on when we're having these. The flyer in particular talks about the exact products that are in there, the price is on there, so you know exactly what they're getting into. providing transparency about the event. So really being open about what we have, how many we have, promoting it again, like through our liquor stores, so we can be better partners with the agents. They, you know, when people come in, they can promote it in their store. You know, if they want people to enter, if they're asked for bottles, right, they can kind of steer people to this program. And then communicating with participants to just align expectations and provide support. So we want to be as transparent as we can with this process, with the chance to purchase, so that people can see that we're, you know, we really are putting this out there for Oregonians to use and to utilize. We also have a chance to purchase website. So the communication team has done a really good job with that website. It has a bunch of key features on it, including the listing of products and the prices. There's a digital entry form on that site. So like when we put out the flyer, there's a chance to purchase coming. There's one coming in March. We'll put the flyer out. There's a link on that site. We can just direct people there. They can hit the link. They can enter. Makes it pretty easy. Everything's right there. There's also all of the archived results from past events. So people can actually look in there and say, okay, who won last year? And there's a picture of that in a couple of slides here. And then just FAQs. So if they have questions, they can also reach out to OLCC. We'll help them answer questions. But there's a lot of good information on that site. We do record the level of traffic. And so this site in particular is our second most popular site of the OLCC website with 80,000 views hitting it. I think our first most popular web page is the Oregon Liquor Search. So this is a hot second to that.
What's the most popular?
Is the Oregon Liquor Search.
Okay.
So where do I get my highly allocated bottles from? So communication also does a lot of social media. This one in particular, on the left, we have Cindy from the Lentz Thirsty Portland liquor store. We did a short kind of clip with her and her experience with Chance to Purchase in her store. And so that's on the website. I think the comms team does a really good job getting stuff out on our social medias. So we put that video on social media. There's some kind of key things up here, but there's a lot of, chatter on social media about Chance to Purchase. People get excited about it. We like to, promote it and try to get that excitement out as well. So this again is just a good engaging way to get this out to Oregonians so they know when these things are happening. And then this is, emails, all the other things that we're doing. This picture on the right is what the previous winners are. So we say, hey, this was the Chance to Purchase. These are the winners. We publish first name, last initial. Obviously, we're not going to publish their full name, but then people can see, hey, people are actually winning these. They're like the actual citizens. We do engage with our agents through emails, but then also we have an email for alerts for Chance to Purchase that people can sign up for. So 33,500 Oregonians are signed up to get these emails when they come out every quarter. We take these promotional flyers for liquor stores. They can print them there, put them up and print them as they want. And then the comms team does these like infographics with the winners and then other things on the website that just kind of make it, engaging and a nice thing to operate. So 2025 results, we did have 4 successful events made possible by OLCC staff and liquor agents. This does include like the retail staff, the comms staff, the distribution staff, the agents. There's just a lot of people involved in this to make these successful. We distribute them in a specific way, so they're kind of tagged as Chance to Purchase. So when the agents get them, they know, hey, this is a Chance to Purchase bottle. It's allocated to a citizen, a winner, and they hold on those until they come pick them up. We distributed 1,371 more bottles in 2025 than we did in 2024 through Chance to Purchase. And we just want to thank all the participants that entered and congratulate all the winners. People do get really excited when they win, which I think is pretty cool. So, and then moving forward, part of the policy was to get a chance to purchase third-party vendors. So we're doing all this in-house now to kind of pull it off of OLCC. We're looking for a third-party vendor to do the actual winning drawings themselves. We'll still handle the communications and the, all of that stuff with agents, but getting a third party to actually do the drawings. So we're in the process of contracting that now through procurement. That's kind of in the early stages. So more on that to come, but that's kind of our pathway, is to get that out of OLCC's hands and into a third party. So it's really kind of an independent drawing. We're gonna work with suppliers as far as the bottles available. So what do we get? What can we put in chance to purchase? You know, making sure that we continue putting a good pool of items in there. Now there's a good number of bottles in there so that people get excited. We don't want to pull too many back and then, you know, not very many winners. So that's something that we're going to continue to do. It's a benefit to Oregon consumers. Like I said, if you go to a liquor store, it's kind of hard to find some of this stuff sometimes. And so entering into this it's great for people. Again, when they win, they get pretty excited about it. And then on the OLCC side, really just tighten our practices for quality. You know, when we are distributing these out, we want to make sure they get to the store, they're tagged correctly, they get to the right people. We've had good success with this program. We've had a couple hiccups. Someone didn't get their bottle. We've corrected on the distribution side and gotten that person what they want. So we've been really successful in having compliance in this and getting those bottles to the people that won. And then we want to continue with communication. So just enhancing that communication. What else can we do for stores to help promote this? What can we do to help people understand that this is out there? So when people ask, hey, where can I get this bottle? We like to steer people, hey, have you heard about chance to purchase? Like, check it out, you know, try to get in there. There are some restrictions on it. So you have to be an Oregon resident. You have to have an Oregon ID. You have to be 21 and you cannot be a member of the OLCC or the commission or an agent. So there are some restrictions that help really make this a for Oregonians, for consumers. Any questions on chance purchase? Yeah.
I have a question. First of all, I love this program.
Yeah.
It's just an awesome kind of encapsulation, I think, for the whole strategy here in Oregon with it's great. And but is the increase in the number of bottles that are available a strategic decision to grow kind of awareness of the program and the popularity of the program? Because I think it reflects very well on the LCC.
Yeah, I think it's those things. That's also, you know, the better we get at this program, like really, you know, administering it, getting those bottles out, the more that we can put into it. So because it is kind of a manual thing, right? And when we started out, like less bottles was easier to kind of get through the program. Now that we've done it a couple times and we kind of know, again, people want this stuff. So, you know, it's our responsibility also to put more in so that we can get more out.
And is the intent to continue growing the number of bottles each year?
Yeah. So number of bottles or number of, you know, selections so that we, you know, I don't want to dip back down. So either, plateau or continue to rise. It really also kind of depends on what we get from suppliers. So, you know, if they start to kind of restrict some of their allocations, that could affect this program. So it's not really all under our control, but we do try to peel off a good amount to put in the program.
You putting pressure on them to give us more bottles?
Anything you can. They hear me now. Send more for, yeah. We'll sell them.
Right. Any other questions?
Thank you very much.
Thank
All
you.
right, I got one more.
You got one more? You
Yeah,
got one more?
yeah.
Oh, construction up there. Yes, we gotta have a construction.
There's something wrong with this power.
Have you been on top of the buildings again?
Yeah,
Okay.
I love going on the roof. It's true.
How would you like to do the camp presentation and then come back to Project Meadowlark?
Do that.
We're having an issue with the live PowerPoint presentations aren't sharing in Teams.
Okay.
So they need to be converted, which
So have you converted camp?
I have converted camp.
Okay. We'll retire and be
That's
back.
not the-
Stay.
Stand nimble.
Shannon Hoffedis. Hello again.
Hello again.
Scott Yachts. Hello again.
Oh, so back on the record, Shannon Hoffedis with my colleague Scott Yachts. So we went through who was involved with camp and we provided them thanks, but I want to talk about what camp is. So what camp is, it's an off-the-shelf system called Posse ABC through the vendor, which was Computronics. And what we did was through an employee naming contest, we renamed it to CAMP, and it became the Cannabis, Alcohol, and Management Program. So that's how CAMP was born, and it's very fitting for the work that we do within the system. And what CAMP is, as Chair Doherty explained, it's an innovative online system for alcohol and marijuana licensing, issuing service and worker permits, conducting actions through a reporting, compliance actions through a reporting platform, tracking and documenting administrative hearings, and processing hemp registrations. So everything that we do within the system is tracked for all employees to be able to view. This was an $11 million project that started in January of 2022, and the final phase was completed in January of 2025. So it was a very lengthy process, but very well worth it. Prior to CAMP, we had a paper-based alcohol licensing system. So all liquor license renewals applications were done by mail, by check, and through a paper-based system. The marijuana licensing system was kind of hybrid. We had a system that was half online and half paper-based. And the marijuana and alcohol worker and service permits, those were online. But they were all that information was siloed between compliance, between licensing, between worker and service permits and our administrative hearings divisions. And we'll talk a little bit more about that, but everything was siloed. So when we needed information, we would need to email the divisions or ask the division directors for the information. So the benefits about what CAMP does, everything is digitized. One system for the customers. So our licensees, they can log in, they have multiple licenses, they can actually see when their licenses expire. And they can renew everything online. It replaces the legacy paper and hybrid system. This is a big one. It enables online payments. All licenses, permits, investigations, and violations are now handled within the CAMP system. Gone, as I said, are the days of emails between divisions asking for follow-up information. The other thing too is for compliance actions, whether on the marijuana or the alcohol side, we'd have to go to certain drives within the agency, look at spreadsheets, go to different databases to look up histories of businesses, or send emails to our administrative hearings divisions to find out what a violation history of a location was. So this system captures all of that. If I have staff or if Scott has staff that are working on cases, everything, the history of the locations are contained within the system. And staff have the ability to log in and look at other divisions' work in real time and where their actions are within a system. So if, say, I have a violation case, I can look in the system and see where that violation case is at within our administrative hearings division in real time online within the system. So what does CAMP do? This is a huge convenience for our licensees. One sign-in for a licensee that has multiple licenses. And again, the alcohol licensees can now pay online, which they never used to. They used to have to pay with a check. And there's multiple ways that they can pay online now, whether it's through debit card, credit card, or through ACH, which is an automatic clearinghouse. OLCC can track statistics in real time to see the time to license, time to issue, the number of licenses, the number of service and worker permits, et cetera. So we can look online at any time to capture and see those numbers. And the other benefit is that staff have the ability to look up license information while they're out in the field on their mobile devices. And licensees, all the licenses that are printed have a QR code. And so that enables our inspectors to snap that QR code and get any restrictions that are on the license or any relevant license information in real time while they are out in the field. So it's a huge convenience. I talked a little bit about the timeline. Again, this was a very long project. And I want to talk about the phased approach that we took. In talking with the vendor Computronics, typically they launch projects like this in just it's launched, that's it. We decided and worked with them and worked on a phased approach because of the different buckets that we had. And because we were so siloed in the beginning, we decided to take a phased approach. And so with that, I'm going to talk about the timeline. Marijuana licensing launched in March of 2024. Liquor licensing launched in August of 2024. Service and worker permits launched in March of 2025. Compliance, which included bottle bill and administrative hearings, launched in October of 2025. So there were 4 phases, but from the beginning of the project, we had some legislative changes that happened, which the hemp program was implemented. So we kind of have a pseudo phase 5, which is considered an ongoing improvement within the program, and that was successfully launched in January of 2026. And again, this was a very collaborative process with stakeholders and industry representatives. There were members of the industry. We've heard positive feedback from members of the industry with the convenience of being able to do everything online and have snapshots involved, and the ongoing improvements that this program enables us with changes that come up. It's worked within the system to have improvements or changes within the system for us to work with the vendor to be able to make those improvements or make those changes that are legislatively necessary, or as rules change, be able to update the rules within the system. So with that, I'm going to hand it to my colleague, Scott.
Thank you, Shannon. Chair Doherty, commissioners. So what has CAMP done for us from a compliance standpoint? It allows us to take a look at a permittee or at a licensee on the alcohol and marijuana side. And we can take a look and see all the history of violations since CAMP has been implemented. As of October of last year, we've now added 100 folks approximately from compliance who are now using the system daily to report our compliance activities. And what it's allowed us to do is keep it all in one shop. Before, we were using multiple different platforms in order to investigate a case and then to document the report. And then those documents may have to go to a different file, as Shannon was talking about, different online drive file. Well, where did that go? Did it land there as it should? Now everything is at CAMP. I can look up a licensee in Portland and I can look at their history. And I can see if they received education, if they were given a warning, or if something went to hearings. And the same thing with a permittee. Have we taken any actions against them? We can see if a fee or a fine has been paid, especially important for special event applications that are now going through CAMP. Before those were paper, somebody have to walk into my regional office with a piece of paper, hopefully signed by the local governing body, come in with a check or cash. Now everything's handled through the online portal. And we can communicate back and forth via CAMP. And as Shannon said, they can pay with a credit card, they can pay with an e-check or whatever they would like. We're really, really discouraging cash nowadays. It's more trouble for us, and it just allows the customer to do things from their desk or their chair. As Shannon mentioned earlier, we can communicate more in our silos. We don't want to call them silos anymore. There are different divisions within the agency. And so if bottle bill is getting a lot of complaints that somebody's not accepting bottles as they should, they can readily create an investigation, then forward it to us in compliance to follow up on. And within that job, all the emails, all the communications that they may have already had with that particular location are already contained. So when we go out in the field, we already have the information we need. We don't need to call them up and ask, hey, what have you done already? It's already there for us. Same thing with privilege tax violations. Those are working the very same way. The nice thing about CAMP from the customer standpoint is we've really created a sense of anonymity that's true nowadays via CAMP. You don't have to log into the CAMP customer portal in order to file a complaint. If you're a licensee or you're a permittee, yes, you need to create an account so that we can track you and you can log into your system and do actions as appropriate. But if you're a citizen and you really want to remain anonymous, you want to stay separated from the incident that you believe occurred, go to CAMP. I'd like to remain anonymous. Type in all the information you'd like to, and it gets routed to the appropriate region. It's really cool for that. Versus the days when somebody walks into our office, which we still accept, or a telephone call, there's still a connection there. You might see caller ID. That person may have said, oh yeah, my name is Steve. Oh, well now I kind of know your name. This way, it doesn't even have to exist. So anonymity is well preserved in the system. As Shannon mentioned, there are a lot of people that have licenses and permits. You can see those up on the screen right now. Every single one of those individuals is now contained within camp, and all the actions that they may need to take are within camp. Again, you don't need to walk into my office and say, oh no, my permit expired or my license expired. We can handle everything through camp. You get emails. Yes, we did say perhaps emails were gone, but the system does remind folks, hey, your permit is up for expiration. You might want to take action on that. Hey, you're up for license renewal. Why don't you go ahead and log into the system and take care of that? But it allows for quicker access to that information and faster response by these licensees and permittees. We see mostly the same information as it says on the screen. Of course, from a staff side, we see a lot more. But what the nice thing is that there is a great amount of information to these folks on the camp customer portal. And as you can see on the next slide, folks can actually go on and look up. So if you are a restaurateur or you have a bar, you're concerned that your employee may not actually have a service permit. Maybe it looks like they doctored up their form. Go into camp, go into the customer portal, look that person up, and you can tell if they have a worker permit or a service permit. If you're concerned as a citizen, like, I don't know if this place is really licensed, go into the camp customer portal, take a look, search it. It'll tell you whether or not they actually have a valid license. So we've really created a huge sense of transparency with this system. And the nice thing is that it's useful for these end users as well. I think they overall are happier with the system. Some people do get struggles with technology. We've heard those. But the really good thing is that we've got a great sense of customer service that's built through this. Our staff have really developed some expertise with this system, and we can help walk people who are struggling through it. That's been really key. We didn't want to dump them a system. Hey, here you go. I know you're used to using paper, but we don't want it anymore. Go to camp. That's unfair. We're actually there, ready to respond, help these folks as necessary. I've spent, when the alcohol licensing went first on, I think I spent over 2 hours just with one gentleman over the course of 3 telephone calls, just to try and help them get into the system. But we do that. And the thank you is all I really want out of that, and the fact that they can use the system. The cool thing as well is that distributors, our beverage distributors like Columbia or Bigfoot, can look in camp as well to verify that they're actually selling to somebody who has a license. They don't need to call us, which they've done in the past. Hey, I don't know if I should deliver this person. Just go to camp, it's there. Pretty neat. Lastly, you may be asking yourself, why am I, as a Medford Liquor Regional Manager, in front of the commission right now talking about camp? What is my business here? As Shannon alluded to, and it's Chair Doherty, you mentioned at the start, staff spent many hours on phase 4 trying to get it right. Because as I said, this was the biggest part of the project, was bringing these close to 100 compliance staff to use the system on a daily basis. A lot of staff were already using it from a licensing standpoint, had a good idea, but not everybody was using it. As of October, we dumped all personnel into the system. We needed to provide training. I have a training background, and so I realized that we needed to come up as a team and have a good plan. And what happened is around June, we realized the program was not going to reach the deadline that it needed to, and we needed to put a pause on. It was absolutely necessary. It wasn't doing exactly what we needed it to do. So we brought a team together. We brought individuals from each regional office who worked in compliance in marijuana and alcohol. We expanded that team. We brought in technicians, our compliance specialist technicians. We brought in licensing folks. We brought in people from financial services to help us finalize this project. And for 3 concentrated months, Shannon and I and this team were working to try and bring this program to the finish line. And part of that was also to develop a training program. So just before camp launched in late October, we went around the state. We called it the road show. We went to all 5 regional offices and we provided in-person hands-on training on the basics of what they would be doing daily. We didn't do everything. We wanted to just kind of keep it to the basics to get them started, get them delve into the system, start to get used to the actions. What we also did during those previous weeks is this team created user guides. And these user guides are available on the hub. And those are those step-by-step processes to take you through things that maybe you don't do very often, or maybe you forgot. More importantly, if you're a brand new employee to the OLCC, you can go to the hub and you can start using the user guides with your trainer, and they're there for you as a guide to make sure that you're using camp appropriately and efficiently. Nice thing is, after we launched in October, we got compliments. Staff came up to me in my office and thanked us for our efforts. They said, the system does what we want it to do. Yeah, there's bugs here and there, but thank you for what you guys did. And that's, again, reward enough, is that the system works and then we got thank you. Additionally, Shannon and I are still available as quasi-experts in camp. We're dealing with SpiceWorks tickets with IT. We're cooperating with IT to try and help users solve some issues. We're still having weekly communications with the software developer Computronics and their staff. There's still bugs and we're still working them out. But overall, the system is fully functional. And I was proud to be part of the project. I have to say, I was a naysayer at the start. I'm like, oh boy, here we go. But by the end, I was a champion for this project and I'm proud of what we accomplished.
Same with me. And one more thing, we do have a third-party call center that if licensees or permittees have issues, they can't log into camp. It's not just on OLCC. We've actually contracted with a call center. It's a 1-800 number they can call to try to get help logging in and assistance. So not only is there OLCC assistance, but we do have that third-party call center that licensees and members of the public can call, which the information is available on our website. But like Scott, I'm very proud to be part of this program and to actually see it come to an end and be part of its success.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is awesome for a guy who has technology. It's pretty limited to my garage door opener. This is pretty impressive. So thank you for that. Thank you for all the work you've done. Questions? Yes.
Just one. It seems like a great program and thank you very much for putting it in place. I have one question though about walk me through why anonymity in a complaint is important. You know, I in general don't like anonymous complaints. I think they're warranted.
Yeah, Chair Glenn, I would agree. And this was a strife that when we were going through the various phases of phase 4, as far as building what we wanted. Anonymity is difficult in law enforcement. You would really like to be able to recontact that person to get those details that maybe weren't elicited from the call taker. But if we didn't allow for anonymity, we probably wouldn't hear about a lot of things out there. Having retired from law enforcement, a lot of the key tips that we started to get were from cell phone callers on the freeways. Hey, there's somebody speeding, there's somebody lane changing, driving very dangerously. Can I get your name? I'd rather not, because they don't want to get drawn into these things. They're worried about being drawn into the litigation and then retaliation.
I have a question.
Sure.
First of all, we have close to 50 licenses, and so the system is fantastic. Just in terms of renewals, I mean, it used to just be a paper trail nightmare and paper checks, and but kind of moving forward, what are the metrics, performance metrics you guys are going to track to see how you're able to further streamline processes? So for instance, 5 years ago, I could count pretty consistently, we'd get a license in 45 days from application. And most of that delay was the city of Portland, not OLCC. So for you guys, and I know during the implementation, the start of this, it was slower, right? I mean, that's normal. It's a huge implementation. But for you guys, is there some sort of regular periodic review, for instance, of amount of time it takes to get a license approved? Is just one thing. I mean,
Yeah, Commissioner Huffman, we do have what's called key performance measures, which is time to license. I don't know off the top of my head what those key performance measures are, but I can get that information to you. But I am happy to say that for alcohol licenses prior to camp, that the alcohol time from application submission to assignment to an investigator dropped from 6 to 8 weeks to 12 days. So that's from date of submission to assignment to an investigator.
Wow.
And then for marijuana, the time from application submission to assignment to an investigator dropped from 6 to 9 months to 7 days. that's where we're at as of today.
That's amazing.
Yeah, wow, wow. Congratulations. And well done.
Thank you. And like I said, the key performance measures are part of our budget KPMs. So we'll be happy to get that information to the commission.
Just to reiterate, this was a team effort. Shannon and I are in compliance, but bringing licensing, those are licensing actions. That's the permitting team, really stepping it up with this program. And as we all know, we have to work to become more efficient. We have to work to become more modern. Otherwise, we'll get left behind. And this program has really helped us get there.
And the other thing too is flexibility within the program. So when we were launching worker and service permits, we had some rule changes. And so we had the rule changes go into effect on the date of launch. And so just being able to be flexible and make things happen and convenient and workable with our licensees and permittees.
Anything else, commissioners? Thank you very, that's very, very impressive. It's
Thank
bringing us up to speed. Much appreciated. And we are aware of it, but I want to continue to be aware of the amount of time and effort that everybody has put into this program. All of you. So thank you.
Yeah, definitely a team effort.
Yes. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Thanks. So what are we doing, Laura?
Project Meadowlark, Lisa.
Welcome back, Lisa.
First, thank you guys. For the record, Lisa Bertram, just Salzburg's director, talking about Project Meadowlark construction down in Canby. First one, so this is what the main entrance front of the building looked like in January of 2026. You go to the next one. This is what it looks like today. So lots of different things are happening on site. You can see kind of the front facade of the building is really coming along. They're starting to put on, you can see kind of the employee patio has that kind of a lid over it now and a canopy. So lots of things happening on site. Fun. So I'll talk today about some things that are going on in the interior of the building. So offices, shops, and then exterior areas, so the roof, there's some stuff going on the roof, and then paving, and then other site updates, which includes the material handling system update and then some landscaping. So interior, this picture is the front. If you're looking like at the front entrance, so coming in that kind of big door, that's the front entrance to come in. All the framing is complete on the inside. They are starting drywall. We were there yesterday and there's way more drywall than this picture even shows. So the next update, you'll see actual roofs. But our teams are also doing final walkthroughs. So depending on what we're talking about, like the server room, that would be like our IT team would go in there. So doing all that stuff today, electrical, plumbing, and then the dock doors themselves and the dock levelers are all in. So it actually looks like a dock now. So this is, if you walk into the front of the building, if you look to the south hallway, that's the picture on the left, that goes down to like an employee area that has the kitchen, things like that. This area is all drywalled now, so it looks a little different. And then if you look down the north hallway to the other side, to the right, that's where there's some admin offices, conference room, things like that. So the next time you see these pictures, they actually like look like rooms now, not just kind of open areas. These are, again, some main offices. So so in the main office space, we're going to have offices for all the staff, as well as an IT area. So there's a lot of IT that's in this building as far as the conveyance goes. And then we'll also have an HR room. So we have kind of different spaces within that section. And then on the far right, there's the IT space. There has a window to the warehouse so they can kind of look out and see what's going on out there. So that window looks right at the material handling system when you look out. They are doing drywall. So the building itself is not temp controlled right now, so it's fairly cold in there. So they built these tents around the shop. Like this one on the left is a tent they built around the shop area so they could put in the insulation and then start the drywall. Drywall has to be at a certain temperature to cure and get the mud to cure. So that's why they built these areas. On the right, that is the dock office that has all that wood is just the tenting that they're putting up so they can do the drywall during this kind of wet, cold weather. So on the left here is again, the shop area. So we have different shops that have different things in them. So we have like an equipment closet, a fire pump room, the maintenance shop. This is a picture kind of inside that tenting. The picture on the right is a giant heater that they actually have installed in here. So again, to keep the temperature warm in these little tented areas to do drywall. The area on the right, when we looked at it yesterday, this entire room is actually drywalled now. So and they're painting, which is pretty exciting. This is a picture of the dock. So you can see on the left is all the dock levelers kind of standing at attention. Those actually, as dock levelers go, those will go split into the dock. And you can see on the right, just kind of mechanics for the dock levelers. Those are all now fully installed. And then this is the dock now with the doors in it. So this is the receiving end of the dock, but this is where all the doors are in. And then really it's looking at mechanics now and engineering or electrical for these areas. As far as the exteriors go, they're doing the final roof install. So the last time we talked about the roof, there was kind of a temporary barrier on the roof to dry in the building. The final roof is being installed now. The PV panels or the solar array is also going on the roof, and I have a kind of a pre-picture of that. And then our generator pad is the picture that you see up here now. So this building will have a generator that will run the entire building. So firelight safety, it can also run the material handling system if needed to. So if we lost power for any reason and it was not an emergency, we could technically still operate if we had to. Really the generator is for firelight safety though, so the building will always be under security. We'll always have fire suppression. Really that's what the generator is for, is to protect the building. If we have a power outage, the generator will run for 72 hours and it's a diesel generator, so we can refuel it if we need to, keep the building secure for a longer period of time in the event that we don't have power. So we were up on the roof the other day a couple times. So this is views from the roof. The view on the left is really looking out at our north lot. So you can see the fence. That's our security fence that goes around the entire property. And then that drive aisle, that's our northbound drive aisle. So that's the main drive aisle for all the traffic that's going to be coming into the facility. There's a road kind of in the middle. That's a temp road right now for people to get into the building through a temp entry to do material handling and get product in. That will go away in the future. And so this, this green area, you see that will be in part of our property. The property on the outside of that, where you can see kind of the high pile storage, there's like some soil storage out there. That's also our property. That's not being developed right now, but we can do something with that in the future. And then on the right is, you can see Mount Hood on a clear day, which is kind of cool. And then this is looking out to the east, and that's where you can see that's Columbia Distributing right across the street. That's our Unicorn. So this is the final roof installation, like I said, is going on. On the left, you can kind of see the roof installation. On the right, you can see where the barriers. So there's like the gray part is the final roof, and the white part is that temp barrier. So they have the barrier. There's a couple layers of insulation, and there's like a foam pad, and then this gray layer goes on top. And then it's it has like different weld points, so it's not fully adhered, but it's welded in certain areas of the roof. And then this is the solar array. So the solar array itself, it doesn't have the panels on it yet, but this is the sleds, I think they call them. So this is not penetrating into the roof. It actually sits on top of the roof. So we don't have any actual penetration of the solar array. So it sits on these sleds, and then there's these highly engineered bricks that will sit on the sleds down, and then the solar panels will go on top, which should be installed here pretty soon. That solar array then will feed back into the building. So it will be connected to the main power. We'll use it. I mean, essentially any power that we get from the solar, we'll be using in the operation on a daily basis. We don't have battery storage to store power, and can't take the power back. So for now, that the solution is just feed it back into the building. If that changes in the future, we can always change that. This is the view. Look on the left. This is our dock. So this is the view from the roof, looking at the dock. The closest part is the receiving dock, and then there's farther down there's the outbound dock, but much larger than we have today. And then on the right is the generator pad that's being poured. And the generator itself will also have a fence around it, a security fence, so that people can't just get to it. Other site updates that are happening now is the material handling system is starting to go in. The equipment platform is what's being built now. So the conveyor itself will sit on like pick lines, and then it'll go up to a platform where all the cases will get sorted out. So that platform is going in now. And they're also finalizing all the sidewalks, side paving, First Street, which is the other north side of our property, was closed for a bit, and then now we've got it back open. It's paved, it's painted, all the good things. So this is a picture of the equipment platform, and it's on the left is all the materials to create the platform, and on the right is the platform going up. So it's about 20 feet off the ground, which when you see it in person is like really high, like it's like up there. It's a pretty substantial platform. But this is the beginning of the building of that platform. And then on the left here is kind of a look at what, it's hard to see in these pictures, like what it really looks like. So I included a picture on the right of like what this actually looks like in the drawing. So this yellow, kind of yellow boxy is the platform itself. And you can see all the conveyors then sit on top of it. And then the vertical, pick lines are what come off of it. So those will feed onto the platform. They'll kind of go through this order and then go out to the dock doors. So this platform will eventually look like that yellow outline on the right. And then just a reminder of the overall warehouse layout, because we're going to start getting into like things actually getting put into place. Just kind of reminded everybody of what this looks like. You can see that yellow bit, that equipment platform. This is facing, this is kind of like true north. So like the orange that's going up, that's toward the outside of the building. But the equipment platforms there, the pick modules, all the gray, orange, and kind of beigey stuff is all racking. So storage for inbound products to get into those pick modules. And then that section on the bottom right that's kind of open, that's our inbound receiving dock. So stuff will come in that way. And then in the middle, just below those kind of orange racking, there's a dock office right there. So all of the staff that are working in that part of the warehouse, so either receiving, inbound, outbound, all the truckers will come into that area. It's all right there. So kind of the heart of the distribution in that area. And then this again is just an overall kind of site layout. So a lot of action as far as like the curbing. So that blue line is all the curbing. Sidewalk has been going in. Just a lot of different things happening. The main parking lot has not been paved yet, but it has been now cleaned up, and they got the base rock in. So that'll start happening here pretty quick. And then the fencing around the property is also complete. So a full security fence has been around the property now. We had a temp fence for a while from J.E. Dunn, but we do have the secure fence with the barbed wire at the top for now. And then this is again what the full site looks like as of this week when we were out there. It's pretty muddy out there still, but they do a good job keeping it clean. And then you can see that again, the facade is really coming along. And then all the light poles, I believe, are in as well in this picture. So fun facts for the day, average light speed of the metal arc is 15 to 35 miles per hour, depending on if it's being chased or not, is what that said. So it's similar to the top speed of a short track speed skating Olympic athlete. Back to
you.
the day.
Commissioners.
Yeah,
Yeah.
please.
Any questions? Let me ask you, we've got our solar panels up there. How much does it defray our costs, or what is the
Sure, that's a
percentage?
good question. I don't know the answer yet. I do know that there are like 2 banks of them. So that was just one that you saw. So I think it's gonna be a good chunk, but I don't know the exact number.
And we can't sell power back if we are still.
Not today. So the grid right now can't take power back, but that could change in the future. And so that's where if we needed to put in a battery backup and sell back, we could.
And thank you. Timeline, how are we doing?
Timeline's still on track to what, we've been talking about. So be looking at, finishing up kind of later this year. There's testing and everything, and then making sure we interact with the DSSC project. So that, getting that into this at the same time is part of that. So still on track to look at, really early next year opening, having the building completed, this year.
The operational first quarter?
of next, yeah, 27, yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. All right, budget wise, we still on?
Budget's rock solid. Yeah, we look at budget constantly. It's, you know, one of those things in construction, things change a lot. And so we monitor the budget closely. We have money right now to get to the end. And so that's really what we look at is like, how do we get to the end? Not like, how do we get through the month? Like, how do we get to the end? And so we monitor that closely. We're in a good spot right now with budget, which is good to say on a construction project. And we also, you know, we don't have the ability to really ask for more. So we're committed to staying in budget.
Good job. Thank you very much. It's a big deal, so appreciate it.
Thank you.
You know, you're doing. Now I'd like to invite Nicole. Hi, Nicole. Nicole Blase and up here, Danica Foster.
Here to bring you a break from the PowerPoint. Yeah.
That's actually, it's a bit overworked, I think.
Good morning, Chair Doherty and Commissioners. For the record, I'm Nicole Blase. I'm the Rules Coordinator for the OLCC. We are here to present one rulemaking action for your consideration today. We have the initial action for the limited lifting of the marijuana license moratorium. I'll give you a short background and then Danica's here to provide more detail for you today. Again, this is the limited lifting of marijuana license moratorium. The 2024 Oregon Legislature passed House Bill 4121, which established per capita limits on marijuana licenses by license type. The OLCC subsequently amended several rules to incorporate these limits, as well as the requirement that the OLCC lift the moratorium for specific license types when the number of active licenses for that type fall below the specified numbers of Oregon residents. At this time, staff estimate it is likely the volume of wholesale licenses and possibly other license types have fallen below the stated population thresholds so that the moratorium may be lifted for those types. Staff believe additional rulemaking is necessary to establish processes, standards, and timelines for receiving and processing new applications for any license type that falls below the prescribed population ratios. Questions for staff today?
What's the cap? What are we using as the population?
Thank you. And Chair Doherty, Commissioners, Director Wasiak, for the record, Danica Foster, Director of Marijuana Licensing. I can give you a little bit more background on this as well. So currently the caps are by license type, that for producers and retailers, no more than one active license per 7,500 Oregon residents. And for processors and wholesalers, no more than one active license for every 12,500. Active licenses. So Oregon has had some form of a moratorium since mid-2018. It started with an informal pause by the agency due to just high volume, more than anticipated applications, and they weren't slowing down, and concerns over oversaturation and oversupply in the market. That was very quickly codified through various legislative sessions and expanded until 2024 when the legislature put this more permanent framework in place of these population ratios and caps. And so under that, we are directed to look at population numbers every year compared with the number of licenses that we would have in any given type. Initially, OLCC adopted rules just to incorporate those population ratios into our rules, but reserved the process and requirements for lifting the moratorium to when that time came. And it just does look like that time has come compared with the numbers run last year for population and our current number of wholesalers. There seems to be a capacity of approximately 30 or so licenses that could be issued for wholesalers. It is possible that processors could fall within that category as well. We won't run the numbers officially until April 15th, I think is the deadline that we have to do it by. But so we'll look at the number of processors at that time compared with the Oregon population to determine if there's more there. For producers and retailers, we are nowhere near being able to lift the numbers for that. We estimate that for producers and retailers, it would be approximately 440 licenses for either one to reach that cap. And currently there's over 1,300 producers and almost 800 retailers. So we are still years and years away lifting those caps. But for wholesalers, there does appear to be the capacity for it. So this would be just initiating that rulemaking. Staff it expects that it'll be a very engaging and iterative process with its stakeholders to develop what that process looks like. And so we will go through, I think, at least 1 or 2 advisory committees and obviously public comment period. And we anticipate presenting final rule action to you likely at the June commission meeting.
Commissioners, any questions? I would entertain a motion then to limiting the lifting of the marijuana license moratorium. Go ahead.
I move to initiate rulemaking to amend OAR 845-025-1030 and OAR 845-025-1131 to adopt new rules and to hold a rulemaking hearing at staff's correct discretion to establish processes and standards for accepting new applications for license types that no longer exceed the population ratios established by law.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? Take the roll, please.
Commissioner Cherry?
Yes.
Commissioner Glenn?
Yes.
Commissioner Hayes?
Yes.
Commissioner Huffman?
Yes.
Commissioner Melinas?
Yes.
Commissioner Minty?
Yes.
Chair Doherty?
Yes.
Thank you.
We recess now.
I think we have Allison coming with presentations.
Oh, yeah. Do the presentation. So now we have retail services, the selection of a new agent for store 1101 in Clackamas. All right.
Good morning, Chair Doherty, Commissioners. I am Allison Smith, Retail Services Assistant Director, and I am here today to present before the Commission with an agent appointment for 1101 Clackamas, a retail sales agent appointment due to a resignation. Before we begin, I'd like to take a few moments to recognize the outgoing agents of 1101 Clackamas. I understand Kevin is back at the store. It's a delivery day. But Lindsay is here in the room. And so, Lindsay, if you'd be willing to stand up for a round of applause. And
Thank you.
Since taking over the store in February 2017, they implemented a complete customer service overhaul, added beer and wine selections, expanded distilled spirits by nearly 300 SKUs, and introduced coolers to enhance convenience. Refresh the store's look with updated shelving, paint and flooring, clear category signage, making it inviting. And additionally, they created a social media presence and a website and extended store hours to better serve their customers. One of their greatest achievements has been building and retaining an incredible team. Most of their staff have been with them for a minimum of at least 2 years, which speaks volumes about their leadership and commitment. On behalf of the retail services team and the entire OLCC, Lindsay and Kevin, thank you for your dedication and contributions, and we wish you the very best in your future ventures.
Good job. Well done.
And now I am pleased to present the following finalists for your consideration. As a reminder, each of the finalists will have 8 minutes to present. One of the commissioners will keep time and will provide a 1-minute warning before the conclusion of each presentation. Are we good to go? All right, perfect. So representing Clackamas Liquor and More, our first finalist is Malik Harambi. I'll start.
Yes.
Esteemed commissioners, I want you to know that it was intimidating sitting in this chair 18 years ago, and it still feels quite intimidating today. Thank you for allowing me this opportunity. As I mentioned, it's been almost 2 decades since I first sat in this spot and shared my vision of what an Oregon liquor store could be with the commissioners at the time. They were gracious enough to believe in me and allowed me the opportunity to illustrate what a non-exclusive liquor store concept for Oregon could be, and what I considered to be the gold standard of retail liquor at the time, Pearl Specialty Market and Spirits. On slide 2, a lot has changed over the last 20 years. There are many more liquor stores that utilize the concept, selection, shelving, lighting, and even the colors I pioneered with Pearl Specialty. I was also a younger man with jet black hair and much better looking back then. The woman you see in the picture from 2007 was my girlfriend at the time and used to help me stock the shelves when she would come visit me from Nashville. She eventually said yes, and we have 2 beautiful children that you can see in the lower picture, which was taken in front of Pearl Specialty, a store we are both active in and proud to operate. Slide 3 highlights my experience with over 30 years in retail, real estate, finance, and operations, with almost 20 of them specifically as a multi-unit OLCC liquor agent. On slide 4, you'll see my education background is in finance. I obtained my business training at Portland State University, where I received my MBA while also working full-time. Slide 5 illustrates a few of the achievements that I'm most proud of during my tenure as a liquor agent for Pearl Specialty and PDX Liquor, a beautiful and state-of-the-art store which I lost well before its time due to circumstances outside my control. As an agent of the OLCC, I pioneered a successful, non-exclusive liquor store concept which raised the bar for Oregon. I took my store from number 240 to the #1 liquor store in the state in under 4 years. I exceeded OLCC projections in every metric provided, including annual shrinkage of less than 0.909% in the most recent audit, and exceeded the $1 million expected revenue forecast by that store by over $9 million. I helped improve public perception as a positive face of the OLCC and had articles and several positive news stories published about the location and how OLCC retail was changing for the better. During my tenure, I have safeguarded over $100 million of state assets. I have received numerous outstanding ratings in my annual OLCC evaluations. Finally, I'm proud to say that I have overseen responsible sales to well over 1 million customers on behalf of the OLCC between my 2 stores. Slide 6 shows an OLCC publication where you can see sales store growth for Pearl Specialty at 646% over the prior year. Slide 7 shows the OLCC fiscal year rankings with Pearl Specialty shown on the top position. The lower image shows the sales increase competition I won as a multi-unit franchisee for Dunkin' Donuts by increasing sales by 86% over the previous year. Slide 8 has a picture of Macallan 57-year-old Scotch, which I sold at Pearl Specialty. The store received positive publicity and I was interviewed on the news, as this was a record for the highest priced liquor item sold in Oregon. It exceeded the number of digits the OLCC internal systems could handle, and it has to be listed as 2 items. On slide 9, my vision for Clackamas involves an array of changes that would raise customer satisfaction, continue to enhance the image of the OLCC retail stores, and improve consumer revenue well above where they stand today. I would expand the hours of operation, place staff that are providing the best in service, and focus on the customer experience. I already have a positive, proactive working relationship with the ownership and will utilize that to address the challenges the lease and the store face, along with any expansion needs. Slide 10 shows the transformation of Pearl Specialty. I will seek to modernize the Clackamas store from the outside in. As I did with Pearl Specialty, which was just empty concrete, I will add high-intensity lighting fixtures, have open ceilings, commercial floors, and bright, pleasing colors with attractive modern signage, and create a brand, not just a store. Slide 11 shows additional pictures of Pearl Specialty after it opened. On slide 12, you could see that I sought to raise the bar again in customer experience with PDX Liquor and Wine. I began with a site that didn't even have flooring, just loose gravel, and the air conditioning can be seen sitting in the far corner instead of on the roof. Slide 13 shows the branding, design, and attention to detail which transformed that space. Slide 14 shows the unique woodworking, walk-through wine cave, and checkout stations that were particular to that store. Slide 15 has a few interior and exterior shots of the Clackamas store currently and the potential that exists to transform that space into something that delights the senses and strives to give our citizens of our community the best possible consumer experience they demand and deserve. On the final slide 16, you'll see an email from then Commissioner Bob Rice on my extension as an agent for the Pearl District location, where he states, "I always enjoy explaining to them that you were the only one who was really willing to take a chance and try something very different in a very challenging situation. Of course, today many more would like to have that opportunity, now that you've shown what can be done there. Well done, Bob Rice." As an existing agent since 2007, I have done my utmost to deliver on every promise I made the commissioners and the citizens of this great state. As I did 18 years ago, I once again ask the commissioners for their vote of confidence and allow me to leverage my education, background, experience, business acumen, and work ethic to help Store 1101 realize its ultimate potential. I live minutes from the Clackamas location and am embedded in that community. I ask for the opportunity to continue my dedication and commitment in working with and within the rules of the OLCC while serving the citizens of the great state of Oregon in a second location once again. Thank you very much for your time and consideration.
1 minute to go. Well done.
Thank you,
Thank you.
commissioners. Yeah, are you related to Murat?
I am.
Is here today?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Brother, I won't say older or younger.
You're the better looking, smarter brother. Is
Thank
that how
you.
you
I
want to
agree
go
with
with
that. Thank you.
Thank you for your that was an excellent presentation.
Thank you.
Would you give Murat a good recommendation if he were?
Absolutely. Very
I don't want to create any family fights in here.
Absolutely.
Will you keep the current staff?
Yes, absolutely. The staff have been there a long time and I feel like they do an excellent job. I've been in there several times. I can see that they enjoy being there and they take their job seriously. So.
Okay. And have you talked to the owner, the lessor?
Correct, yes. Based out of, the gentleman's based out of California.
Okay,
And so the company that owns the property, not the property managers, I have spoken.
okay. And you negotiated the terms of
Yes,
the lease?
yes, they'd like to have an agent in place because they said, I received 17 calls. And so until someone's in place, I really don't want to continue the conversation in a lot of detail.
Great.
So they'd like to see somebody in place first.
Right.
Sorry, I'm working on it here. Okay.
So those are all the questions I have. Any other questions, commissioners? Excellent presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I don't want you to be intimidated here. For goodness sakes. Very good.
Thank you.
All right, so next, representing Common Core LLC, we have Murad Parani.
Okay, we got the competition up here between brothers.
Thank you. An OLCC liquor store isn't just a private business. It's a public asset, and I've prepared my whole career to treat it that way. Good morning, Chair, Commissioners, and Director. You are hearing from other operators today looking to add Store 1101 to their portfolios. I am here today because I want to make it my singular focus, not one of several priorities, but the priority. My goal is simple: to operate a compliant, successful store that makes your job easier, not harder, and aligns with Commission's values. On slide 2, you'll first see that I'm about more than just business. I'm a proud, longtime Oregonian. I attended Valley Catholic High School, where one of my coaches was Michael Harper, who served as an OLCC commissioner until 2019. His mentorship taught me early lessons about discipline, accountability, and earning the public's trust. Those lessons continue to shape how I lead today. Service and community matter to me. I sit on the board of directors for Oregon Children's Theater, and I've been honored to receive the President's Volunteer Service Award for over 800 hours of service. I share this because stewardship isn't just a buzzword for me. It's how I live my life. On slide 3, I highlight some of my more than 25 years of retail and customer service experience. I started with an undergrad degree in information systems and quantitative analysis, which I paired with an MBA from Portland State University. That education shapes how I think about controls, forecasting, staffing, and accountability. As a top-rated Subway franchisee, I supervised large teams, oversaw 36 weekly bank deposits, and a complex operation that ran 24/7 across multiple locations. The franchise environment taught me that compliance isn't optional, it's foundational. I also bring significant experience from a high-volume OLCC liquor store environment in the areas of purchasing, vendor management, staffing, and operations. I was engaged in the stewardship of up to 100,000 daily revenue and oversaw over 1 billion in inventory with 0 compliance violations. I know the strict expectations around inventory accuracy and responsible sales because I executed them every single day. On slide 4, you'll see a few of the awards I've received, including Best Store Grand Opening, Best Remodel, and Highest Store Growth during my time as a Subway franchisee. I've built stores from scratch and acquired struggling stores and made them profitable. I have experience in improving what exists, operating within structure, and growing responsibly. That's what I would also bring to Store 1101. In slide 5, my vision for the store focuses on modernizing the space, updating the core, adapting the hours of operation, and addressing the lack of a stable lease, which is currently month to month. The entire center is currently under permits to undergo renovation, which will start in the summer. I'm already in conversations with the property owners about the lease, improving store visibility, parking, signage, and expanding into a larger footprint during that process. My deep experience in real estate negotiations of commercial leases will be valuable during this phase. My immediate priority would be to secure a long-term lease and to create a modern store that serves the community with pride. Slide 6 highlights my first operational change, extending store hours to 10 p.m., giving customers 40% more access and generating an estimated 15 to 20% increase in sales. Extended hours only work with proper oversight. That's why I commit to being on site a minimum of 50 hours a week, particularly during evenings and weekends when compliance risks are highest. When issues arise, operational or compliance related, they will be addressed directly by me and the community will know me by name. On slides 7 and 8, you're seeing current photos of the store, illustrating that there are many opportunities to elevate the customer experience. On slide 9 shows how I plan to transform the space. I will replace the damaged flooring and add bright LED lighting to eliminate dark corners and make the store feel safer. By rearranging displays, it would establish clear, unobstructed sight lines from the register to the back wall, a proven deterrent against theft. My plan would be to paint the walls of brighter colors and install modern category signage, along with removing the exterior dark window coverings to create a transparent storefront that connects with the neighborhood and lets in natural light. A modern, well-lit, and well-merchandised store reflects well on the OLCC and reinforces that liquor retail is about responsible service and customer experience, not just sales. Slide 10 highlights my typical operational standards regarding service and staffing. Slide 11 outlines the technology I plan to implement to protect state assets. This includes zero-tolerance ID verification and an AI-backed surveillance system. I created an online ordering system for licensees 18 years ago, and I understand how to leverage technology for forecasting, protecting state assets, and utilizing it to gain reliability and reduce risk for both the store and the OLCC. On slide 12, you can see examples of past marketing I've done to grow revenue in publications like GQ and Portland Monthly, and social media, which I would utilize at Clackamas. Slide 13 illustrates the store's primary product categories. The latest trends show a shift from the traditional principle of 80% of sales come from 20% of products to now a new closer 90-10 rule. My focus is on ensuring a faster return on the state's inventory investment. My final slide is my pledge to you. I have strong foundational business and technical knowledge. a proven track record of being able to take existing businesses and help them grow, and extensive retail and liquor specific knowledge, experience. I bring the same operational knowledge as the other candidates with one key difference: singular focus. This will be my only store. I will be present, I will be accountable, and my professional reputation as an active member of the community will be directly tied to how Store 1101 operates every day. I'll close where I began. An OLCC liquor store isn't just a private business. It's a public asset that generates hundreds of millions of dollars annually for Oregon schools, law enforcement, and addiction treatment programs, and requires strong stewardship. If selected, I will treat Store 1101 exactly that way, with care and respect for the standards you uphold. Thank you for your time, your service to Oregon, and the opportunity to be considered.
Thank you. Thank you. Very good. Would you recommend your brother if he?
We've always had a friendly competition. He's an excellent operator.
Thank you. Commissioners, excuse me, go ahead.
I have a question. You talk about a change from 80-20 to 90-10.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
This is actually something the latest rep first told me about when he came in the store, and how people are focusing, and I looked it up, and people are focusing more on the brands that they like and what they want. For example, if you take the beer industry, you look at Modelo. People are buying more of that, less of everything else. So a lot of the craft brands, and you're seeing this a lot with a lot of the craft and small batch breweries and distilleries, they're having a hard time, they're struggling. And whether it's marketing or selection or being able to get on the store shelves, that's causing an issue. But what you're seeing is people like what they want. They're seeing the products they want on social media, the things that are going viral. That's what people are going towards. So the things people are drinking are becoming more focused.
Do you think that there's a preference for more expensive beverage as opposed to less expensive?
During this time, I have not seen a preference for more expensive beverages. I think it's very economy related. There's a lot of uncertainty at the moment. And given that, I think people are cautious in how they spend their money.
Are you going to keep the current staff? Or are you
Yes,
getting new
definitely. Yep, I've been in the store. They did a great job, especially with when it comes to shopping the customers, keeping theft, and the deterrents like that. They do an excellent job.
And you have discussed the lease with the current landlord. I heard that.
I have. I've discussed it with them. They're the ones who told me they're going to be remodeling the place. There's renovations happening in the summer. They're in a permanent phase right now. They've mentioned they're going to be at market rate when they come out. But there's some negotiation for TIs to improve and remodel the space.
Okay, great. Well, thank you very much. Excellent.
Thank you so much, Commissioner. Sure. Thank you.
All right, our third finalist, representing Robert Boland Inc. We have Robert Boland.
Welcome. Welcome back.
Thank you. Okay, we'll go. Hey, good morning still, everyone. I'm Robert Boland. I'll be presenting for store 1101 Clackamas. Next slide. I'll give you a little bit about my background. I spent 29 years with Safeway. Walked into my local neighborhood store, became a courtesy clerk, and kind of worked my way up through the ranks. Became a department manager and then on to a store director where I ran 2 stores on the Oregon coast. From that, I got promoted to director of retail support, where I was the liaison between the corporate level, any initiatives that were rolled out to the Portland division, and then handled all construction budgets, remodels, and things of that nature for the division. Worked with contractors. My next job, I got promoted to district manager, where I oversaw 26 stores in the Portland metro area. So from downtown Portland all the way off to the coast and including Clackamas. And then, so I've got a proven track record when it comes to customer service, operations, and then team leadership. In 2020, I decided to leave Safeway and bought my own business. I took over Hillsborough's Best Beverage, store 1096. While doing that, I became proficient KMDS, ordering, reports, inventory tracking. Got a great shrink record at 1096. Had experience with lease negotiations. Didn't have to do that with Safeway. They kind of did it all for us, but got experience with that. Negotiated 2 leases so far. Created a social media presence, website, custom logo, and then certainly understand regulatory compliance. On the next slide, we are a family business. All 3 of my children work at 1096. My middle son there, right in the middle, Robert, has helped me manage the store. I'm there 5 days a week, and he helps manage the store with me. My daughter Ashley is my oldest. She used to manage the store for me, and now she's bought her own business, and she does social media for us, but pretty much wrapped up with her own business now. And then my youngest son, Riley, works full-time for us. On the next slide, I want to talk a lot about what I'm going to do and the vision. As you said earlier, Lindsay and Kevin have done a great job with this store. Every time I visited, it's clean, it's neat, it's organized, it's well stocked. I think there's some things that we can do to take it to the next level. Next slide. What I proposed, we put new wood flooring in, add a 3rd register, new paint throughout the store, decorative wood panels at the register, new employee break room. I think it's really important for the employees to have a safe space to relax during the day. New light fixtures. PGE has an Energy Trust program right now where you give people new light fixtures for $5, so we'd certainly take advantage of that. Paint the ceilings black, and then expand from the 2,500 to 4,800 square feet. As everyone said, this store is on month to month. I've talked to the owner of the property, Nathan, and discussed my vision for it. He's got 4,800 square foot that's available, and he's willing to move forward on that. So that's what we've tried to do. New exterior sign on the outside of the building, and that's an example of the sign. On the next slide, I want to show you what it's going to look like. And the reason I can show you this is because this is our store today. This is what we've done to it. You can see the wood paneling at the register. You can see all the items behind the counter that are shoppable, the cross merchandising with related items. On the right-hand side, you'll see the wood flooring that I'm just talking about. You'll see the black ceilings we're talking about. On the next slide, I think there's some merchandising improvements. Again, we can build upon and we can help expand this store. 16 to 20 door beer cooler. We'd add a new 8-foot humidor, new aisle markers and descriptive signs, new categories to include non-alcoholic. That's a growing category for us. At the beginning of owning a liquor store, I didn't think that would be so popular, but it is. Wine, beer, snacks, soda. We'd add 80 linear feet of gondola, and that would help us support some categories that I think maybe are underserved right now just because of the size. The ready-to-drink categories, tequila is another one that's a growing category for us. And then add lottery, gift bags, greeting cards, glassware, specialty ice, just a lot of things. On the next slide, again, visuals of what it would look like. That beer cooler right now is the beer cooler we have in our store. That's 27 doors. We would probably be able to fit 20 doors, so it'd be a little bit smaller version in this store, but that's what it would look like. On the right, high-end locking cabinet, that's a great fixture to keep high-end bottles out there, make sure that they're shoppable for customers, but they're not walking out the door with thieves, and they're not behind the counter where no one can shop them. On the next slide, just an overall sky view of the store and what it looks like. On the next slide, the fixture layout of that I'm proposing for the 4,800 square foot box. On the next slide, the estimated budget for the remodel. Again, just last June, we went through this same remodel with all these items listed on it. We spent a little under $100,000. We budgeted $125,000 for this. I applied for an SBA loan early January, and it got funded on the 5th of this month for $150,000 to complete this project. So we've got the money. We're ready to go if we get awarded. On the next slide, employees. Employees are the backbone of any good organization. And as everybody mentioned, Lindsay's done a great job with her team. They've been there a long time. And I was surprised to hear 5 years, I think, is Julie's record there right now. I would go over responsible vendor training. I think it's that important. I know they probably already had it a million times, but I personally make sure that I deliver it and that they understand how important it is to our business and to me. We'll offer a retention bonus right out of the gate. Like I said, I want to keep all of those employees. I think it's smart to make sure that they're there, not only for the business, but for their livelihood too. Vendor coordinated training. Vendors offer free training for us. It's awesome way to get people specialized in certain categories. So we would get the vendors tied in with those employees to make sure that they've got some even better training than maybe what they've already had. We have a 401k match that we offer with our company. We have vacation pay that we offer. And then the current employees, Julie, Joey, Duff, and Steven, all are going to be offered positions with us. On the next slide is the retention bonus that we've drafted and that we're ready to deliver to these folks. On the next slide, hours of operation, we're going to extend it a little bit. We're going to open a little bit earlier. We'll stay open a little bit later. Fridays and Saturdays, we'll stay open until 9 o'clock. Okay, on the next slide, securing assets. You know, Kevin's, one of the current owners, has a background in law enforcement. So the camera system here is really a pretty good system. You got remote access. There's no blind spots in the store currently. So that system, I don't think needs any upgrading. So we would continue to use that. Customer engagement, I preach this to my team every single day, and it's so important to be out on the sales floor, engaging customers, engaging anyone that comes into the store. If you were to walk into the store today, you'd employee immediately would say, "Hi, how you doing?" And I think that's a great way to help deter shoplifting. Being a responsible vendor, training every 6 months, delivering that and making sure that your team stays fresh. And then being a leader, that's my job. I got to be a good leader to the team, and I got to make sure that they understand what I expect and that I'm going to be there for them to treat them right. And then cycle counts, we do cycle counts. Oh my gosh, every single day in our store. It's important to make sure that the inventory is accurate and that we're on track to have a good inventory at the end of the year. And then securing high dollar items in the lockbox. On the next slide, I've included some letters of recommendation. Hopefully you got a chance to look at those. And then one last recommendation that didn't get included, but Lindsay and Kevin both had said that I could say it today, that they would highly recommend that my team gets this one. So with that, any questions? Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Excellent. Commissioners, questions? I saw your letters of recommendation. Jeff Cash was pretty, how do you know Jeff?
Jeff and I went to high school together. So
oh, okay.
Jeff, I've known him a long, long time.
Excellent. So what do you see as the chief impediment or opportunity for growth? Where's the?
I think the biggest opportunity I see right now is just developing a store that has more related items in it with the liquor and being able to expand some of the liquor categories. The ready to drink right now, I think, is pretty small for the space. Getting a lease is probably my first priority, to get the lease and get the employees on board first. Those two things, without getting the lease, you're really stuck. So those would be my two priorities.
And you mentioned a retention bonus. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah. So I did it with when I took over Hillsboro's Best Beverage. It worked out great. If you stay with us 90 days, you'll get a $1,000 retention bonus.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
Okay. Else. Thanks for taking a break. All right, so the commissioners will now go into executive session to deliberate on the agent selection pursuant to the authority of ORS 192.6602A. No final decision will be made in executive session. We will return to open session in this room. While in the back room, the commission will also discuss the proposed stipulated settlement agreements from contested cases under ORS 183417 and as authorized under ORS 1926901. We anticipate reconvening in about 30 minutes. Okay. Thank you. So we're back. The commission is back in session. First order of business is the selection of an agent. And I would entertain a motion to appoint our new agent.
I bring my glasses. I don't read it. I'm sorry. Somebody else have it.
Oh. Yeah, 1 second here.
Good point. Look, can you make sure really quick?
Okay.
Okay.
We ready?
Chair,
Hold on.
Hold on a second.
I just need to make sure that our virtual commissioners are there.
Can't read that.
Thanks, I'm sorry.
I don't see them.
The other commissioners go.
Um, Commissioner Minty says she's here. Just 1 second. I see right now, it's for some reason, it's just. I see Commissioner.
Can you hear me, Laura?
Yeah, we hear you.
Okay.
Yes,
Resolution.
no, that's fine. I'm just looking for a virtual commission.
She's requested, it's the top. If you go to the top, she requested to join. See a little.
I could do that. To get feedback. Commissioner Hayes has a meeting. So she's not gonna be on.
So we still have a quorum here.
Yeah.
All right, let's move ahead. We good, Laura? Yeah.
We're good.
Okay.
Motion. I move to appoint Murad Pirani as the permanent agent at store 1101 Clackamas effective March 9th, 2026.
Second,
Moved and seconded. Discussion? Take the roll, please.
Commissioner Chowry.
Yes.
Commissioner Glenn.
Yes.
Commissioner Huffman.
yes.
Commissioner Melidas.
Yes.
Commissioner Minty.
Yes.
Chair Doherty.
Yes. Congratulations. A little help, a lot of help from your brother over there. Where are we now? And next we go to the stipulated settlements. We'll entertain a motion there as well.
Good morning, Chair Doherty,
Oh, I'm sorry, you have to
members of the commission.
keep doing
My name is Victoria Brown. I am the interim director of the Administrative Hearings Division. Today, the division has 4 alcohol compliance stipulated settlements and 1 marijuana compliance stipulated settlement for your consideration.
Motion.
I move to ratify the 4 alcohol stipulated settlement agreements as proposed by staff.
Second,
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Take the roll.
Commissioner Chowry.
Yes.
Commissioner Glenn.
Yes.
Commissioner Huffman.
yes.
Commissioner Melidas.
Yes.
Commissioner Minty.
Yes.
Chair Doherty.
Yes. And with that.
And the marijuana.
Oh, we need to. Okay.
Oh.
Yes. All right. To the next one.
Sure. I move to ratify the marijuana stipulated settlement agreement for Portland Canna Connection as proposed by staff.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Chowry.
Yes.
Commissioner Glenn.
Yes.
Commissioner Huffman.
Yes.
Commissioner Melidas.
Yes.
Commissioner Minty.
Yes.
Chair Doherty.
Yes. Now we are adjourned. Thank you all very much. Everybody else.